nice.
You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
And Ivan. And you've just been on the phone to Phoebe, Don, have you?
Yeah, she's just landed. She's in a taxi queue, wherever that is.
A taxi queue. That'd be at the airport, probably, Don, if she's just landed. Yeah. Probably wouldn't be at Coles or
supermarket
or at Costco. No,
Well,
it'd
she
probably
could
be
have flown.
at the airport. Now, I just should have. It was remiss of me. I did gloss over michaelchristianmenswear.com. .upyourass. No, just michaelchristianmenswear.com. He was trying to get onto my social platform, Don, about my not email. What do you call it? Facebook, to give out the address
Hats.
or how you what?
The hats.
Yes, how you just go to him direct rather than. And you could just order them from him because they've run out, Don, and people are just clambering.
You've already mentioned this.
No, but I wanted to mention that he's going to put his details on my Facebook page.
Why? If you're giving it a plug here, why?
No, so people just tap in, go hit on the link and go straight to him, and he mails them out, Don, for the very, very reasonable price.
It's a shocking price.
It's at $34.95.
Oh,
good quality.
Down from 40. It was $40
Oh,
last
it's either
week.
$39 or $39.95.
You've got to be off your head. No wonder the doctor wouldn't pay. He's getting ripped off.
34 for 39. Is it not
33?
$34.95 it is. 35
so
bucks
it's coming
for
down.
30. No, it's not coming down.
You can't sell them.
It's
I think you can.
we're into the third run, Don.
Geez, they'll be going for $10 soon.
Don, we're into the
Why
third.
wouldn't you hang out?
We're into the third. He is into the third run of them.
There's a factory full
He's
of
buying
Chinese
six
little
at a
kids
time.
just stitching them all together.
Yeah, rubbish.
Yeah.
You're going 6
They're all
at a
waiting.
time.
They're all waiting for your phone call.
Vietnamese child labour stitching them. No, he gets them embroidered in Tasmania.
What about the size of the hats?
They've got a band where you can adjust them, Don, at the back,
Okay.
you know.
What about the
you're not
giggle
that
hats? They'd
stupid.
have to be all... They're not one size.
Bucket
sure.
hats.
Giggle.
Yeah, they're one size. They're for the
I wonder
tradesmen.
how many fatheads buy
Now,
them.
he said, michaelchristianmenswear.com, up your ass. He said that inquiries have been sort of stagnant over in Perth, and we thought that might have something to do with you, Ivan. You
Yeah,
turned people off over there, have
well,
you?
I was onto the underwear, so I bought my yearly quota.
So you're buying all that underwear in Perth?
Well, someone's got to, yeah. They're
Oh.
good gifts, male or female or...
Well,
Anyhow,
you had a big market for your underpants in Perth.
and I tell you who wanted a cap as well. Do you remember the name Dr. James Stewart?
Oh, not him again.
What do you mean, not him again?
Well, you're giving him a rev every week.
He
He's
wants-
signing autographs at the MCG one week.
He was.
And now what does he want?
He wants a cap.
Oh, shit.
You cannot be serious because people.
What? So when he's signing his autographs, you're going to sit down and say, you cannot
when
be serious?
people come in to get the marijuana oil prescription, prescription, he has, and people say, does this do you any good, the marijuana oil? And he just points to the hat and says, you
Can't
cannot be
be
serious.
serious.
Of course it does you good, and it's taking a hold, that stuff. It's
Hang on,
having
can I ask-
worldwide recognition about what marijuana oil does for your joints and health.
Now, listen,
we're not saying this.
Hang on, can I ask you a serious question? Have you tasted the difference? I got a new bottle the other day. It tastes completely different to the previous bottle.
Maybe because, Don, you've got the one with the THC in it rather than the
I
CD.
haven't. I have. There's
That's
been
the
no
problem.
change
Have you gone
in
off your head on it
my
yet?
mood. No, been no changes in my mood at all. Oh, where did you get? They're not bad actually.
Don,
Are you
no one
serious?
knows what you're doing. No one knows
Well,
what you're talking
explain.
about.
You set the scene.
I'm not explaining anything.
Well, you've just put on your glasses, a
I've-
fashion accessory.
I just
They
wanted-
look good. I don't mind.
That's why I wear them, because
Yeah,
they're a
no,
fashion
they look
accessory.
good.
That's
I'm
why I'm wearing
complimenting
them.
you. And
Yeah.
you've got your linen shirt on.
That's right, Don.
You look completely different. Your
So-
whole personality and persona's
so
changed
we're
from being
sending
an
out- we're
asshole to
send-
being somebody reasonably sensible or passive.
Don, compliments, please.
No, they're not compliments, they were truths.
Oh, no, I know they're not compliments, Don. So we're sending out a cap to Dr. James Stewart, and he said he wanted to come in. He had something for us. I don't know what it was. He wanted to give us, I don't know what he wanted to do. But anyhow, so, and you've, what was that, oh, Don's doing hieroglyphics now.
I'm doing because you don't. I'm learning sign language to try and say
don't speak about Dr. James
Stewart.
Stewart.
Shut up.
Just shut up about James Stewart.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. I don't know
what
why.
that means? Don? What?
Hit the button?
Hit the button. We've only been going 3 minutes. Don, so you said that the new batch tastes different. Maybe the
I
buds
said that
are
10 minutes ago.
Well, I'm just the one.
And you were very dismissive when I brought it up. I had a relevant thing.
Well, why does it taste different?
I don't know.
Well,
That's why I'm asking you. Do you think it could be like anything, grapes or whatever else?
Grapes?
Well, listen to what I'm saying. Some years you have a better vintage than others. And like this year, with climate change the way it is the rain that we're getting...
Marijuana plants, you reckon?
No, could this have an effect upon the crops?
Might be global warming, Don.
Could be.
Well, it could. Do you think that marijuana oil is affected by... what is it, global warming?
Maybe. What do you think global warming comes from? Maybe just the sun and the moon?
It comes from car emissions.
Oh, bullshit,
it does. And power stations and coal burning.
Coal burning,
Yes.
coal-fired power plants.
And animals running around in the paddocks.
Is that the green coal or the brown coal?
Or
the black?
The good
Oh,
burning.
no, we don't say that.
Europe about to find out just what having no power is, because they reckon... Now, tell me, they reckon Putin, Vladimir Putin, blew up his own pipeline... which provides natural gas to Europe, and they said that why would he blow up his pipeline when he gets all the revenue to fight the war in Ukraine? And
do you think they're paying him?
Do you reckon America blew it up? Because dopey Joe Biden...
Who blew up the bridge?
No,
the bridge?
Yeah,
the bridge
Ukrainians blew up the bridge.
Are you sure? Nobody's owned it.
No, I think they have. Yeah, they have now.
Why
they've
are we...
come
And
out.
who was it?
Yeah, they said the Zelensky, yep, he said it was us.
I wouldn't trust one word those people say. Why would we be involved in the Ukraine-Russia war? Tell me what has it got to do with us?
That's been going on since the 15th century.
Exactly. Why are we sending money and resources? It's got nothing to do with us. And the US, honestly, they're just spoiling for a fight with Russia because they think Russia managed to get Donald Trump elected as the president, and that's only just spite. They're trying to actually, seriously, that man...
But there's bad blood. It's a little bit like
bad blood.
North and South Tasmania.
So...
They'll never combine North and South Tasmania because they argue about their beer, and one beer's better than the other, and they're going to stick a football team down there.
Next minute,
it'll be
nuclear
supported by the
holocaust.
Southerners and not the Northerners.
So you wanted to speak about Brittany Higgins and Mr. Bruce Lehman. Why? So we've got the ABC, our ABC. It's your ABC. If you actually don't say it's our ABC, the ABC are a disgrace. They push the Indigenous narrative about Hawthorne.
It's not a true representation of our society, the
Of course
ABC.
it's not. It's just a minority. It's just a vocal minority who push bullshit.
But how would you make it cosmopolitan? You'd have to say you can have it from 8 till 10 or...
So
have to
Brittany Higgins,
set
who was
times
charged or has said that Mr. what's his name, Lehman, had jumped on her and had sex with her. Now didn't appear at court, didn't she? Didn't turn up.
No, she didn't turn up for 2 days in a row.
And
what about her mode of answering too? I don't understand that.
How that gets the oxygen, it deserves nothing. It is two people who were pissed, who ended up frolicking around, and one's taken exception. And then you have that Wilkinson woman, and shitheads like bloody Mike Carlton. They jump in and have their own opinion. They have their opinion, which is fair enough, but it is so jaundicely stupid. So then we get on to.
Hang on, with Brittany Higgins and Monica Lewinsky, there's a common denominator here. Why do they both keep their dresses? One was a white dress, that's the only difference, and one was a blue dress. Brittany Higgins had a white dress, and Monica Lewinsky had a blue
purple
dress.
Yeah.
Why would both of them keep the dress?
Because they're probably keeping the bodily fluids that came out of the
I don't
men's.
know. Brittany Higgins had hers dry cleaned. And Monica Lewinsky, I think they found DNA on that.
Yes, they found Bill Clinton's DNA when she gave him a head job.
Oh, excuse me.
Well, she did.
No, do you mind?
She gave him a head
You're
job in the
crass.
Oval Office.
Then
you're
what's it
crass.
doing on the dress? Oh, yeah, okay.
Ivan, please.
Yeah.
So,
There's many positions,
what are you
Ivan.
saying? What's undelicate about that? Bill Clinton got a head job from Monica
No,
Lewinsky.
you could put it
stayed in office.
You could do it. You could frame it a little better.
Had oral sex. Gave him oral sex in the Oval Office of the White House. He lied about it. He was charged with perjury. He got impeached, and yet Donald Trump. Honestly, fair dinkum. So what? Miss what's her name? Higgins has kept her dress. Has she? Was she saying there was bodily fluids on it?
She wore it to another function.
Is she saying that there's bodily
No,
fluids?
no, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying about their dresses. Isn't it interesting? Monica Lewinsky had a blue dress, Brittany Higgins had a white dress, and they both kept the dresses.
Don, what's
I
controversial
just
about
think
Miss
it's
Higgins?
interesting
What's
that-
controversial about Miss Higgins keeping her dress?
Well, wouldn't you get rid of it?
What if you had a liaison with someone, and why would you get rid of your dress?
Oh, you're saying...
Go on.
So...
What are you saying?
Yeah, I've been raped in this dress, get rid of everything, throw everything out.
Thank you, Ivan.
Oh, well, why didn't you explain that?
No, because I thought you'd pick it up. Memories.
Memories. I'd have
Oh.
no memory. I didn't have a memory of her keeping a dress. I didn't know she'd kept it.
If you were the victim,
You'd get rid of the dress.
You'd just get rid of everything, wouldn't you?
I see. Well, all right. Well, so you're saying...
Geez, you're thick.
Well, no, why did you
No wonder
explain
you could
it?
only get 10 in that Sunday Observer quiz we used to do. Thick as a brick. I reckon Jethro Tull wrote that song for you in mind.
So Miss Higgins probably not too excited about anything happening because she didn't turn up at the last thing, did she? She say she's what has happened to her, and yet people just go
Is there
on
a thing
and on
called
and on.
subjudice as well?
I don't know. Well, didn't Miss Wilkinson find that out? And then I see Tracy Curo. Do you remember her?
Oh, I do remember her.
60 Minutes.
60 Minutes.
That's right.
And I
Was she
used
on the
to-
Channel 10 news? Was she a newsreader on Channel 10?
Yes,
Oh,
I think
you're
she
right,
might
yeah.
have been.
Yep.
And she's up. She has charged someone. She's charged someone with domestic violence, Tracy. And there's a picture in the paper of her today. And I used to love Tracy Curo, and she was fantastic on 60 Minutes. So there's and she. That's
should go through some of the. Where's Yarn Event nowadays?
Well, I don't know. I was talking about Tracy Curo, who's.
I understand,
charged
but she
someone
was a
with
big-
domestic violence.
She was a big name, Tracy Curo.
And we because she's good, and this has nothing to do with.
Who was
a
married to-
liaison with this was an unwanted liaison by someone I think who was a family member, and she has unfortunately had to take some legal action against that person. Unlike what's going on with Mr. Lehman and Miss Higgins, who would have no idea what's going on there. This is it's grist for the mill, Don. If you know what that saying means.
Tracy Curo, did she marry Rob Gell?
No, that
Who?
was Joe Pearson.
Oh, Joe Pearson.
Now, so then we get on to, now have a listen to this. The most pampered sports people in Australia are Indigenous AFL footballers. We bend over backwards to take whatever they say on face value. I would be so sceptical about anything that those people, that the Indigenous players say, because they are being pushed and pulled and prodded by activists. So then the AFL jump into it. This is what the AFL have decided. I'm taking my glasses off. Put them on. This is what the AFL have decided at the draft. The that the
Which
clubs...
the trading one
Yeah,
now?
the
Or the,
trading. That the clubs have their Indigenous player development manager present during interviews at this week's draft to continue support for cultural safety. Have a listen to this. Have a listen to this. Have a listen to this. The Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander representation on the interview panels would support the cultural safety for all involved in the interview. All AFL clubs have an Indigenous player development manager, with the league announcing last year that it had mandated the position. So they're asking for the AFL accredited draft representatives who interview players for the draft. They are saying that they don't have the integrity or the moral standing or compass to understand what Indigenous players want. So the AFL are mandating that they have to have an Indigenous representative to guide them through recruiting Indigenous players. The AFL...
I didn't think you had to go to that. When you're nominated for the draft, you make that decision yourself. It's not somebody with your hand up your back or a gun at your head saying you go into the draft. So it is a decision by the individual to put himself in the draft. So why, knowing the so-called pitfalls, would you subject yourself to it if you didn't want to?
Don, you're spot on, and this is the AFL once again. They just are exploiting Indigenous AFL footballers for their own pathetic standing. They keep apologising for who they are or who they think they are, which we all have to fall in behind this nonsense. They just keep dividing it. They're exploiting. They don't understand that they are exploiting Indigenous footballers because they want to placate themselves and feel woke and that they're doing the right thing. They are honestly a disgrace. The people who, how you can possibly say that this is not dividing the two groups of people. It's just like them and us. I was a bit ambivalent to all this until, and I know you're going to roll your eyes up at this, but I don't care, and people listening to this will roll their eyes up, until we got embroiled in that Nicky Winmar discussion about why he lifted his jumper up, and the AFL jumped in and absolutely... We were part of the most disgracefully trumped up charge of vilification because we dared to discuss, and I was turned a blind eye to most of all this, but you just got to see the course that they're on. My greatest mentor in life, probably as a footballer and certainly as a footballer, and maybe just as anything I did, was an Indigenous person called Graham Polly Farmer, and he was a guiding light into Indigenous football and Indigenous Aboriginality, if you like. And I looked up to him more than almost anyone I know, except maybe my parents. But to see the nonsense...
You copied his game.
I did. To see the nonsense that the AFL carry on about with this, they are the most pampered group of sports people in Australia, Indigenous players, because the AFL want to set a standard that they think people should attain to, and it's just absolute nonsense. Divide.
What would Polly think of all this today? What would your friend, Polly...
my friend would think... like any other normal Australian person, whether you're black, white, blue or green, he would think that we just survive on our merits and we understand that the game we're getting into, and the nonsense that's going on with Hawthorn and Clarkson and the man from Brisbane.
Yeah, hang on, Fagan's coming back, you realise that? Next week?
Whatever.
Reinstated or something.
The absolute nonsense going on about that and being accused of something they would not have said in a million years, but the activists are just pushing and pushing, and the ABC fall over themselves backwards. It is seriously a disgrace, and no one's game to say it's a disgrace because you just get branded. But this is nonsense, absolute nonsense.
But what's happening with the Hawthorn thing? They've named a panel of so-called legal experts. I don't know whether QCs are involved. But what is actually happening? I've heard nothing.
So if the AFL are so serious, Don, why don't they investigate it? Why don't
Well, they are.
No, they're leaving it to Hawthorn
No,
to
they're
investigate.
not.
No, they've
there's
only
been a point.
they've only jumped in. They've only jumped
No,
in to show
Hawthorn
their.
gave it to the integrity department of the AFL. It was too hot to handle for Hawthorn. They didn't know how to do it. The AFL have appointed a board to investigate 4 people. And what has happened with that board? I've heard nothing.
So-
when do they start investigating?
So tell me this, Don and Ivan, what happened to the 2 Indigenous people who jumped the fence at the AFL Grand Final?
What?
They should be. They
Hang
were
on,
fined,
hang on.
obviously.
Well, no, hang on.
Hang on.
Would they?
You're telling me something I don't know anything here. What are you talking
Well,
about?
I'm telling you, the 2 Indigenous patrons,
Yep.
jumped the fence at the AFL, entered the arena during the Grand Final.
What, when the game was on or
Yes, and were wrestled to the ground by the security.
Really?
Have you read anything about if you had
Now,
jumped?
hang on. I was
Fuck
there.
you, Did.
Will
I
you
don't
tell
care.
me when it was? I was there.
Well, I can't tell you the time
Oh,
it
okay.
actually happened.
Because I didn't see it.
Well, there was 2 of them. Jumped onto the ground and were wrestled. I saw one of them wrestle to the ground. What I'm saying is, if you had done that, Don, you would have been
didn't even know about that.
national news
Exactly.
about. I thought that if you entered the arena during, it's not the police's job, it's the AFL's job to police who goes onto the ground in the grand final or in any game. You get a $10,000 fine, I think it's mandatory, and you get banned for life, or certainly for a long period of years. Have you actually heard what has happened to those
I didn't
people?
even know it happened.
Well, that's right, because it's not reported, because the papers don't want to report it, because they're Indigenous people, and they'll think, oh no, we don't want to actually draw attention to the fact that someone from an Indigenous person broke the rules. It's all right if you'd done it, you'd be.
You saw it. When was it?
I can't tell you when it was. I just.
Geez, your memory's going.
Well, you don't even remember it happening. So.
Well,
Did you go to the game?
I was at the game, but I got up and walked out on it. Maybe it was then when I was away.
Well, anyhow, I'm just telling you.
The game was so bad.
One-sided.
I'll read it out to you if I can.
Was it one-sided or bad
Yeah,
game?
it was just bad football. Shocking. They just didn't turn up.
Here we go. Right. A pitch invader disrupted. This was printed. This was broadcast in the Daily Mail. This wasn't even broadcast in any of our
okay.
papers.
No,
here.
that's probably why I couldn't find it.
A pitch invader, and there's a picture of him, and there,
Really?
just disrupted the AFL Grand Final with a very bizarre demand. Over 100,000 people piled. That's the only.
Come on, read the article. This is it. I'm
There's
interested.
no article.
You said the demand.
There's a picture of the invader.
He's got. Geez, he's done well. He's got boots on, steel blue
There's
boots.
a picture of the invader, and it says that's the only reference is because they're Indigenous. That's the only reference is because the Daily Mail printed it, but none of our papers followed up on whether they got fined or suspended. But if it was you, Don, they would have written about that for a month. So, as we keep saying, they just try to divide the community. There is just one set of rules for some and one set for other people. And why the AFL Indigenous players are treated any differently from anyone else who transgresses or gets into trouble off the field. If they're white people, they get belted from pillar to post, and if you're Indigenous, you get a free pass. All we're doing is dividing the country. We should be all one people. This is, I keep saying, well, we've got this is, and the amount of welcome to country. How many times do we have to thank the people for the land? When you land in the plane, it says we are now flying over some tribe's territory, Wurundjeri territory,
Yep.
and we give thanks for letting us fly over in the airspace. And then when you land, you say, and we're now landing in someone else's territory. What in the hell is going on?
Yeah, I
if
thought I turned up at the wrong
European settlement
airport.
hadn't come here, we wouldn't have a country to thank. But could we all just get over it? And it's just frightening. And the AFL lead the charge by trying to placate their own inadequacies by who they think they are, but who they're not. They're pathetic people, run by low IQ people.
Now, speaking of the AFL, when does Gill go?
God,
it should be soon, shouldn't it?
And this
have you spoken to him?
I'll tell you when this started. This organisation. Do you remember 2 years ago at the start of a round, all the players held hands around the circle in acknowledgement of Black Lives Matter, BLM? Do you remember that?
Yes.
And they all bowed their head and they knelt down and they thought they had no idea what they were doing. They're just like sheep. Black Lives Matter is a discredited organisation. It's a domestic terror organisation that the blacks in America have decided is a disgrace. It was just a pure money-making concern for the people who organised it, the black people who organised it, and it's a disgrace. And I see Kanye West and a woman called Candice Owens wear White Lives Matter T-shirt at a fashion gig in Paris, and they're black people. They got the shit kicked out of them because they said, "Oh no, white lives don't matter, only black lives matter." You've got to see the activists on a rampage, and no one ever says. But Kanye West, who is a multi-billionaire in his own right, said this is nonsense, and he's a black man.
Now I know you follow Formula One. Have you seen that Black Lives Matter where they kneel down in that? You haven't seen it this year, have you?
And of course you haven't, because they've finally found out that BLM is a furphy. And what about that council up in the north of Melbourne, Don? Moreland.
They've changed their name.
They have a Black Lives Matter mural up there. Honestly, they're just dumb. They're just dumb amoebas. They are. They're just honestly.
That's one
single-celled people.
How do you? Yeah, okay.
Amoeba. Well, I think we did it in biology.
Now,
hey, listen, if you're doing nothing in November, Australian Show Jumping Championships are on.
Will you be in them, Don?
No, I couldn't get my entry in. But they're down at Borneo Park. Remember, you drive past it every day, once a week.
Yes, I'll be
on
driving
Borneo
past
Road.
it tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yep.
So it's on the second.
So
I'm going to plug this because it's a hidden treasure.
Yep.
They've got a beautiful
You're
restaurant.
a hidden treasure, Don.
Will you shut up? It's called a Rilla, so you can make a day of it. They've got a very, very nice restaurant, and it's a very, very good day. There's
Don,
attractions for
I've
the kids.
been to it.
No, you went to the Victorian.
I went and watched you.
Yeah, the Victorian. This is the Australian. They come from all over Australia.
I know, and
made an ass of yourself.
I went out into the arena and filmed you.
I know
on my
you did.
phone.
I know you did.
You said, "Could you come out and film me?"
I want to
see if my posture on the horse is correct. So I go out there, and the woman said, "What are you doing, Sam?" I said, "Don's asked me to come out and film." And she said, "Oh, if Don's asked you to come, go right out there and stand behind that truncheon or that staunchion there, or whatever."
Truncheon.
And as Don rode past, like you had a bottle up your arse, you're sitting there bouncing up and down, jangling your agates on top of the saddle, and your eyes are popping out like Catherine Wheels, and you've got a tunic on, and you're sweating, and you're looking around, and proud as a dog with a tin dick. And I film you, and the horse comes over, and I said,
"How's it go?
How's the horse go, Don?" And the horse goes. I said, "Don, how's the horse?" And I got more out of the horse than I got out of you. So I've been to that thing, and you said...
No, that's Victorian. This is much bigger.
So I asked you, "Are you in it?" And you said, "I didn't get my entry in." Why didn't you get your entry in?
You've got to hit the button very early and pay a premium.
You're as dumb as dog shit, Don. Why didn't you
Now listen, what about the road? You're talking about something else. What about the roads travelling down to your golf over...
What?
Tuesday. What is it? You golf tomorrow? Thursday.
That's tomorrow.
That highway, our roads in Victoria are shocking. In my area, which is the Morning Peninsula, even that main freeway down to your golf tomorrow has got potholes in it. I've got to go and get the shockers done and the bushes done on my truck.
I know what you mean, Don.
What do you mean?
Even the way to Mount Gambier, the road, the Princess Highway is terrible.
Down at Winchelsea, that was put in a couple of years ago, that stretch, the double lane from Geelong to near Colac, that is now breaking up. Talk about building this and doing that and putting rail lines in. Our roads are shocking. They are now dangerous because the ruts or these holes are exactly where you drive. You try and swerve them, you'll hit the oncoming traffic. And as I said to you, I am getting my shockers done and the bushes done on the back of the truck that I drive. It's a fucking disgrace.
Well, there's lots of truckies that listen to this, so they'll be nodding their heads listening to that.
They cause it as well.
Oh,
the
the
big
truckies.
trucks.
So, Don,
they should get them off the road.
How weak? How weak?
They should put a rail service in from Melbourne to
Mount
Brisbane
Gambier?
And down to Mount Gambier. Get the trucks off the road.
Melbourne to Brisbane?
What? Melbourne to Brisbane. The
Put
Newell
a rail track in from Melbourne.
The Newell
to,
Highway.
that's just pretty
Everybody
easy to
is now travelling up on the Hume all the way to Brisbane. They're not taking the Newell because it is now dangerous because of the state of the road is a disgrace.
You can get trucks off the road, Don.
I would, and I'd put rail back on.
Yeah, the efficiency of the railway service, but you would never get your goods for a year. Don.
Hey, listen, talking about the draft, you're trying to mention, you didn't, but I felt a little bit for Grundy from Collingwood. He penned a bit of a note about, and I wonder how many guys...
What did he pen, Don?
Well,
fill us in.
His regret, if I read through it, it was put in such a way that I think he's got regrets going to Melbourne because of the emotive ties he has with a body called Collingwood. And I wonder how many players are in exactly the same boat, that are emotively tied to an organisation yet have no control over where they go. So you've got to sever that emotional tie.
So he didn't have any control over where he goes?
No, because Collingwood
He
were
traded
wanting
him.
Collingwood were wanting to get rid of him because they made a mistake by giving, I think it was a 7 or 5 year deal on a lot of money, and they just can't afford to pay it, and he's not performing to what he did
A lot of
couple
money.
years ago.
$7 million.
That's right.
So-
And they would have probably back-ended his contract. That's the same as the boy that went from Gold Coast down to Geelong.
So he's gone to Melbourne against his wishes, has he?
Yeah, I just think...
You know what loyalty is, don't you, Don?
well,
$7
I don't know
million.
what it is, and
That's a question.
Okay. Well, I don't know what
Would
loyalty...
you like to know what the answer is?
Yes, go on, tell me.
Loyalty is giving 100% of your effort to the people who employ you at the time. That's loyalty. Just because you change
So do you
clubs
think
doesn't
you
mean
could,
to say
do
you're
you think
disloyal.
you could give that somewhere else, do you? I couldn't.
Yes, you could.
I couldn't. I had the
don't.
opportunity, but I couldn't.
So if you had the opportunity, so if you had, against your wishes, been traded to some...
I would have objected to that.
Yes, but if you had to go because that's the rule, and you ended up at a different club, you would try your heart out because you have pride in your own personal performance. That transcends everything, Don. Your own personal pride. It's innate. It comes within you.
Anyway, it's an interesting, because there's
Yes,
three
Sam,
ways
that's
of
correct,
looking at
John.
three ways of looking at it. Whether the club instigate, I think the club instigates a lot of this. The players do, but if there's a breakdown in the relationship, I think a player should go.
How weak are the Essendon Football Club? Now, I've been a great supporter of the Essendon Football Club during the drugs saga because they were rounded up by disgraceful and unscrupulous media writers. Why would they shaft, or why would they accept Mr. Thorburns' withdrawal as the president because of something he didn't say 9 years ago and was alleged about what the church has about gay marriage or whatever? Why would they say, go away, to everyone who's up in arms about it? He is the president and we back him fully. Why wouldn't they say that? And yet... The CEO, thank you, off camera. And then Dan Andrews came out. He is a really low-grade person, Dan Andrews. He said there was a disgrace about Mr. Thorburn and there's no place for him in society and there's no place for that attitude. Honestly and truly, you wonder how people survive with being really low-grade people. And why would Essendon put up with that? Why wouldn't Essendon just have him as the CEO if that's what he was... why would they get rid of him? Right? Why would you have to decide between church and club if you're a part of a church?
Well, you get asked the same reason. Why did Hawthorn instigate an investigation into their Indigenous program?
Why did they?
I don't know.
That's right, because they get pushed they get
know. I
pushed
don't
by
understand
activists, and they instead of people just giving the middle finger and saying go away, so we've got nothing to hide. Our morals and integrity is in place, and we treat everyone the same. Now, finally, Don.
Thank goodness.
Finally, Mr. O'Connor. What's his name?
Mark
O'Connor from Geelong, the Irish footballer. Don?
Yeah,
Mark.
I don't know Mark O'Connor.
I don't know him
he's the
either.
Irish
I don't
footy
know
player.
either. I'm just about to tell you what Mark O'Connor said. He said that it's a disgrace that the AFL don't give premiership medals out. They only give them out to the 23 people selected to play in the grand final.
Did Mark O'Connor play?
Yes.
What?
Yeah, he did. Of course he did.
On the day?
Didn't he? He did. And
Hang on.
And his friend, another Irishman from the Sydney Swans, played as well, I think. But I think Mark O'Connor played in the grand final, and he would get a premiership medal because they won. And he said only the 23 people selected to play in the grand final get a premiership medal.
Right.
He's saying it's a disgrace. He said
Why?
everyone on the list should get one, didn't he?
Yeah,
Didn't he
that's what
say
said.
that?
Everyone.
Oh, geez, a lot of the blokes will never play a game of football that are on the list.
Why would you give a premiership medal out to people who didn't actually take the ground?
Gee.
That's what Footscray did, didn't they? They gave one to that man.
Yeah. The captain.
Yes.
Bobby
Murphy.
Murphy.
Well, they'd actually, someone gave him a medal and said, why would you give him a medal? He didn't play. Gee, he was a fantastic player and great for the club. Honestly.
So incidentally, he's over in Ireland at the moment.
Playing Gaelic football.
Gaelic
he
football.
did play in the grand final, didn't he?
He did.
Thank you.
Remember, there was two of them on tender hooks. Tenter, that's the word. That's
tender.
about 4 or 5 words.
Jeez, I'm glad someone else is copying it.
Yeah.
Tenter, Don, not tender hooks, tenter.
God, you can't spell, but you know.
Because he nearly
I
missed
can
out on the
spell. What are you
game.
talking
You
about?
can't. You're asking
And
for
it was either-
hypocrisy before. How do you spell it?
I spelt it exactly.
No,
and I
you
said
didn't.
to Ivan, how do you spell it? And he read it
You're
out,
a
and I said,
dummy.
I've written it down. I asked you how to spell
No, you're a
hypocrisy.
dummy.
He said HIP.
You've got a retentive memory, and all you do is you've read the bloody dictionary back to forward, back from back cover to
that's
front
easier
cover.
for you to say, Don.
It's
Say
hard
that
for me
again.
to say.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
Yeah, that's right.
And you got a retentive memory, and you know a few couple of words that are impressive, and that's all you got going.
Dolt
for.
is one that springs to mind when I look at you. Dolt.
Is that similar to adult?
Hang on, let me
No,
write
you're
that
not
down.
an adult. You are a dolt. That's 2 words.
Anyway,
not
tell
one
me
word.
about Mark. Did actually O'Connor play?
He did. It
And
was
he said
between
it's a
him and another fella, Parafit.
And they said it's a disgrace.
And they've let him go back to Ireland to play Gaelic football.
Yeah, well, it's the off season. Yeah.
I understand it's the off-season, but who pays his money? I think it's an amateur game in Ireland, and Geelong are his principal employers, and he goes back, he could get injured.
He could.
Jeez.
Okay, Don.
That's
All right,
the
that's
risk.
it now. Look, anything else you'd like to say that you haven't been able to say or explain properly to
Hang
the
on,
listener?
it's winter time in Ireland.
It's what?
It'll be
Yeah,
freezing.
it's a winter's game.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's winter time in Ireland. Yeah, seriously, it's unbelievable.
He's from
It's the
Dingle.
northern hemisphere, Don. When
Dingle in
it's
Ireland.
summer here, it's winter there.
I
and
understand,
vice
but it's
versa.
bloody freezing over there.
Yes.
Well, it's
Have you ever
3
been
degrees. I just
ever
spoke
been
to
to
a
Croke Park or whatever it's
I
called.
have. I've played at Croke Park.
I've
Do you know what happened in 1915 at Croke Park?
15.
1915 in Croke Park.
Not really, Don.
Well,
No,
the
1950
British Army drove in their tanks or the armoured vehicles and shot the place up. There was a game on and just turned it on the crowd. Did you know that?
No, Don, I didn't. No, I didn't. That's Croke Park, is it?
That's Croke Park.
Were you
It's
there?
no,
1915.
no. I didn't play. It was an away game. I didn't play that day.
Okay. Ivan, look, it's been
I'm
great
done.
to have you. Phoebe's out.
No, she's on the plane, isn't she, or in the taxi queue?
Righto. Any other final thing you want to say before?
I'm looking forward to our guest. Who is it?
Well, how would you be looking forward to the guest
Because
if
I
you don't
just
know
come
who
off
it
the
is?
top of my head because you never tell me anything
Well, how would you
as
be
to
looking-
who
how
we
would you
got
be
on
looking
or
for-
whatever.
how would you be looking forward
because
to
it
the
just
guest
gives
if
me
you
a
don't know
little
who
bit
it
of
is?
restraint. I just get away from you. And the person could add something.
Well,
I could have an intelligent...
I'll tell you what I'll do.
Righto.
Don, when the guest comes,
Yep.
I will introduce the guest to you,
And
and then
you'll
I
piss
will
off.
withdraw. I'll go and
Good.
sit in the car.
Thank you.
Okay, well, you're on. Righto, Ivan.
Yep.
That's it. Now let me
Hit
just
the
see
button,
it.
boss.
Have I been recording this?
Oh, shit, no,
I think
please.
I've been recording it. Now here we go.